Well, good evening, everyone, to the first episode of Bryan Air Live. And I just want to take this opportunity to tell you what this is all about. The aviation industry has been through hell. This past year has been an experience for all of us, whether you've been affected by job loss or not. It's hurt us, it's made us question our beliefs, and we've cried, we've been angry, and I think our lives and who we are has been changed forever. One area that hasn't changed is our sheer love for aviation. And I can speak for myself and my crew here this evening that, that love for aviation has spread to the aviation community as well. And there's a level of connection that wasn't there before that I now have. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. Bryan Air Live is a platform to engage, communicate, ask questions, and influence the weekly Bryan Air podcast, which of course will always come out on a Friday. This live show will stay that. It'll be a live show. It's not going to go out as a podcast. It will be out on a Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock. It's not always going to be perfect. We're going to try our best, and hopefully we'll end up with a nice polished product. I'm quite proud of what we're doing because we've taken something that's working. Our podcast has been tremendous. It's opened up doors that I didn't know existed, and the level of networking it's provided has been great. Now, this is just there to take us to a new level and to open up that networking even further. I've got a huge amount of support from the expats around the world, and I want to connect with you. I want to get you on. With the way things are these days, with in this pandemic we're going through, it's not always easy to get people into the studio. In fact, it's a lot of the time it's impossible. So the only way to do it is on a live platform like this, and it's not an interview; it's a chat. I want to know what you're doing, what you're up to, how's your job going, have you lost your job, have you got something else, and just a way for us to talk, engage, and make the most of what the situation has dealt us. Good evening, my team, my crew, Brett, Mark Preston, and Ryan Perrock, of course, part of this Bryan Air Live as well. And welcome, guys.
Hey guys,
Bryan.
Very excited for this. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking and sort of planning this sort of event for quite a while. And upping the ante. Today's been quite a long one. I've been looking forward to this.
More than a long one from my side, because I've had technical issues like you cannot believe. At the last minute, I wasn't too sure whether I'm going to be on Bryan Air Live or I was going to be Bryan Air Dead. But fortunately, things worked out with the help of you guys. And it's great to be here. It's a nice little insight into what happens with the Bryan Air podcast on a Tuesday evening, because guys, you as you know, this is our Tuesday night is our time to grab a whiskey, have a chat, talk about what's happening in the news, what we're going to talk about in the show on Friday, just pull the ring out of everything at the same time. So it's nice to be able to share this with everybody. And good suggestion, Bryan, pushing us as usual.
Yeah, no, it's something new, and you're welcome, Dave. Dave Sands, the first comment on our new live show. Thank you, Dave. I was speaking to Dave before we went live this evening, and of course, our proper long-time supporter as well, Jason Northwood there from Go Aviate. Thanks, guys, and welcome. We haven't really advertised this too much. As we did with the podcast, we learned as we went. So I want to make sure this actually works properly. And we'll formalize it a bit. We'll tweak one or two things, and then, of course, make sure we push it out consistently every week. It won't always be the three of us. Sometimes it might just be myself and Ryan. Sometimes it'll be myself and Brett. Sometimes it'll be myself, and then I'm going to try get a few of my friends and ex-colleagues from around the world to join me. So if you do want to join in at any point and chat about what the hell's going on out there, please, shoot me a comment, drop me an email, send me a WhatsApp, but let me know. and I want to get you on. I want to hear about what's happening and build this aviation community, which is so small, but it's come together in such an awesome way. Ryan, I think you would agree. The contacts that we've always had, suddenly during this pandemic, it's just we're chatting to people much more. And I think the podcast has opened that up for us in such an awesome way. And this now just takes it to a new level, which is just so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing that I found just so awesome about this lately is the level of connection and the networking and the amount that we actually talk to ex-colleagues and friends. I almost feel like we speak to them more now than what we used to, back in the day when things were sort of still normal. And I for one, I'm loving this journey and this platform. Things like this are just so exciting. It's thrilling to be pushing ourselves as a team and individually as well, taking things to the next level. Like I said to you in a message earlier before we started the show, it's a bit of a dopamine rush to this, and nothing like a little bit of a quick whipski to calm the nerves.
Yeah, well, what I did, Ryan, I actually put you on a solo screen there so I could have a few drinks without you, without the guests seeing. But no hiding that. But thanks, Ryan. And Brett, from your side.
Parak always breaks it. We know this, guys, so it's nothing surprising to anybody. Yeah, I think this has been it's a phenomenal journey that we've gone through, and pushing my stuff out more and more on the Bryan Air podcast has been a big eye-opener for me. It's just been so liberating to be able to speak to guys, have so many people listen to us and follow us, and start talking about some things for me which are just so real. And a lot of us out there are actually just ignoring it. And I think this is a brilliant platform, and it's pushing me to push it out on my stuff on my platform more and more. And it's at the same time helping everybody. And I just, even if it's one comment that I get on a weekly basis, it's brilliant to see that and see a little bit of an effect.
Yeah, I totally agree. And those connections are just going to improve now and increase. So it's so cool to even see these Marsho as well. When we started this podcast, I came up with, I don't know where I came up with it, but the saying was, if we can't be in the air, then I'd rather be on the air. And we spoke about it before we went on tonight. When you go live, there's this element of excitement there. And that same, I tell you what, it's the same excitement you get from when you're about to go fly an approach down to Minima or whatever it is. It's such an awesome feeling. And I'd go so far as to say that this, in fact, is probably, would you say the adrenaline rush is even more, Ryan? It's like this immediate rush that there's no procedure to it. You can't plan exactly what you're going to say. You can prepare as best, but we're not preparing much for the show. This is informal, guys. We're here to chat to you, and as I say, consistently every week we're going to be here. So let your friends and family know, and please join us.
Yeah, Bryan, you basically just about took the words out of my mouth there. I was thinking about it this afternoon in the build up to the show. Was that level of excitement is almost reminds me of that sort of day before you go solo kind of thing. It's that same sort of butterflies in the stomach and everything. It's very cool. Same, and then probably the same sort of excitement and nervousness that you have, building up to an IF renewal before you go to sim. There's a lot of prep that you have to do, and there's those nerves and excitement all at the same time. So it's a lot like flying in a sense.
Yeah, it is. And I'm interested to know what everyone thinks about it. As I said, it's something new here, and it's this brand new challenge. Chris Honey, thanks so much for the comment. And these little comments I cannot tell you how influential, and I'm not just talking about these ones now, sort of while we live, but the comments over the last year, whether it's been a WhatsApp or whatever, just to say, I like what you're doing. Guys, hasn't that helped us actually carry on? And it's actually shown me the importance of encouragement and encouraging others. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys. And really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, I must say, just doing the podcast, you never know what people are thinking. You have no clue. You look at a YouTube and see if you've got how many thumbs up and how many thumbs down. That gives you an idea of how good or bad the show was. But now, in this scenario, seeing comments and guys just engaging with us while we're doing it. And yes, that's thrilling. That is just so cool. Absolutely love it.
Hey, Mark. Thank you. Mark Thompson, awesome supporter of us and ex-colleague as well. So that's awesome. Mark, I put this especially for you down there on the ticket tape at the bottom there. I knew you would love that one.
Yeah, you know what? We've only been on the air for 11 minutes now, but what I'm enjoying about this so far is the engagement. You know, you feel so much more connected to your audience all of a sudden. Not like when you're actually recording the podcast where it's, you know, you're flying blind to a degree, but this is cool.
Is it just me, or is this a bit easier?
Yeah, I'd probably say it's a tad bit easier. I think. I don't know if that's just if that's me or if that's the half a bottle of Tullamore Dew in me. No, it certainly does feel a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, for sure. One of the things that interests me with live, and I've been reluctant to do interviews, even when we've had someone on, and we've had a few people on the show. We try and make the guest part of the vibe, part of the crew, and that's kind of our style. Try and stay away from the interview style podcast and make it three guys having a chat, similar to a chat you'd have in the flight deck, obviously without the whiskey, but more of a sort of a banter session. And I think obviously chatting like this, you're chatting in a much more natural sort of way, in a natural environment. So yeah, very cool. And it was obviously my responsibility to make sure that this actually works. So I'm so happy that it's out there and it's working. And the fact that we're getting comments means people can actually see us, which is a great relief.
There's no hiding the fact that we both know how hard you worked this weekend on putting all these little elements for the show together, Bryan. And you know what? As a wingman, I must say thanks for all the hard work that you do behind the scenes, and it makes it so. I'm so proud to be a part of this and part of the team. The opportunity and the just everything about it's really cool. And thanks for everything that you do. But
no, cool, bro. It's awesome.
Yeah. We're never gonna hear the end of this now. Jeez,
you know what's cool with this? When we're on the show, I can't mute Brett. So now I can actually I can get rid of Brett totally. Gav, thanks for joining us as well. Gavin Hill, thanks for joining us.
Jillian, so good to have you here, Jillian.
Yeah, Jillian's awesome. There's from Jillian. And Dave again. Dave's ripping you a new one there, cuz.
Yeah, no, I expected that from Dave. Yeah. But yeah, just to get back to what I was saying earlier, I'm buttering Bryan up because I want a promotion.
He's the wrong one to butter up, bud.
We've got a hierarchy on the podcast. So I of course am naturally number one. Brett is camera number 2 and audio number 2. Ryan is camera 3 and audio number 3. And maybe you know what? Maybe we should start a bit of a fight for that number 2 position.
Yeah,
I think we're going to start a fight for the number 1 position, guys. That's more attractive.
Listen, the rate I'm going, I might end up being replaced by the GoPro. So let me just stop it right there.
So I'll let everyone know how we're doing this tonight. One of the things that Brett, you can jump in here when you want, and I find so interesting about these times. 2 years ago, if you're going to have a meeting with someone, you'd either jump in your car, go meet at a coffee shop, or go to their premises and have a meeting. And obviously, we can't do that these days. But obviously, the obvious second option is to pick up the phone and make a phone call. But no one does it anymore. So everyone wants to meet on Zoom, which is great because you got the face-to-face or Microsoft Teams, whatever it is. You got that sort of face-to-face. But let's face it, it's a sort of a glorified phone call. But what I've come to realize is people actually enjoy it. It's like a micro form of media. Okay, obviously it's not going out live, but it looks exactly how it looks now. You can put whatever background you want. You can change your name. Whatever you want to do there, you can do it. So this reminds me very much of what we have been doing every Tuesday night for a while. Obviously, with the odd less swear word and stuff like that. And we can't be as nasty to Mango. But
nobody swears. What are you talking about? I mean, really.
But anyway, so we're using a streaming, what's it called, StreamYard. It's working really nicely, and we got our cameras all plugged in. I'm running a DSLR camera straight in as a webcam. Brett and Ryan are doing the same, using some fancy tech on their side. And we've all got our podcast microphones in. So one of the things I said a while ago on the Friday show, Brett, was we need to do something to talk about these Zoom meetings because they are so important these days. You can come off so badly on that platform because no one's been taught how to do it. And one of the areas that's so critical is sound. If you can I'd say sound is even more than the picture quality. Because if your voice is coming through properly, man, it makes such a difference. You don't need podcasting microphones, but you can go and buy a relatively cheap microphone, plug it into the USB, and suddenly your voice is booming over the platform.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, video is critical. We've seen that in the last 12 months. Some of these Zoom call videos are hilarious, but yeah, it's the new way of doing things. Whether or not it's going to stay this way, but I can't see it actually changing because I think a lot of businesses out there are realizing, first of all, you don't need an office, you don't need to travel, you can do all your business sitting at your desk. So, yeah, if that's the way it's going to go. Suggest that everyone gets comfortable with it, and a lot of people hate it. They just can't work with this. They freeze up. They don't know what to say, and it's the weirdest thing because you would think being in a boardroom or face to face with someone that your nerves are gonna rack you, but not on Zoom. Everyone seems to struggle with it, but this is the way it is, and yeah, it's great. I mean, here I am. I've got Dave Sands as in my court here fighting for number one. So Dave, you see, you don't even have to be with me. See, I've already gained the support.
Dave just got demoted as the head ground school instructor at SimAero. So sorry, Dave.
Dave knows that if it's for me, he gets more work. So thanks, Dave.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, but it is nice to see the comments in that. It's very cool because it gives us. But guys, we need your help. I mean, on the podcast, the Friday show, which will, of course, as we said, it'll stay our flagship show. The direction that we're going, if you like it, let me know. If you think we are talking too much about the good old stories of SACS and SAA and the lack of talking about Mango, which I've taken a lot of heat from, but that's not going to change. Let me know. But yeah, it's this obviously opens up a new door because we're going to get people coming in and saying, hey, I want to hear more about this. I like it when you guys speak about that. A lot of people this last week, Brett, have been saying to me how cool last week's episode was and listening to what you had to say. So it's very cool. And you really, I think, not that you were ever in your shell, but you need an opportunity to talk about the stuff that really interests you. And I think last week you did. So Yeah, Brett, over to you, because I think people, again, want to know where your stuff is and how they can find you. And you've got an awesome website up.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Bryan. And it's great to hear. That's what I said. It's to have that feedback is just it means the world to someone who's trying to step out there and try and do something different and effectively help. We've come from that background where we want to help. We want to do something that's just gonna, geez, if it makes one person feel better just for a moment, stops them from doing something stupid or whatever. It's a big thing, and all of this is what I talking about non-attachment, talking about disrupting your life. This Friday, I want to talk about taking responsibility. And it's all about looking internally, looking at yourself, looking at yourself personally and saying, where am I at the moment? Where are the faults? Because we all do. I mean, we're never going to get to a stage where we don't have those, but if you just in a situation and are able to take yourself one step better in some area of your life that's bugging you, worrying you, that for me is the most important thing you can ever do to yourself. Incremental, small, tiny little steps is going to make a massive difference. It's like flying an aircraft 1 degree off course is going to take you way off course once you reach your destination. So it's the same thing with us as people. We've all gone through a hell of a lot. Nobody ever expected this to go through to happen to us. So it's so cool to be able to look at certain areas in our lives and just make small little changes. And most of the time we don't know what those changes are. So we kind of live with the shit that we're sitting with. And for me, that is what is so important. So I'm looking forward to talking about responsibility, taking responsibility personally on Friday. And I hope someone enjoys it. It'll be fun.
Mark Thompson's made a comment here. Ryan, you can jump in. Yeah, we spoke about this on the show. What happens if you're talking to someone, you're having an interview, whatever it might be, and these Zoom things are luck of the draw. If you're having load shedding in the area, if your internet is just slow, you come off as if it was a poor interview. You can have the best charisma in the world, the best credentials, but if you can't talk to the person on the other side, I think it really, really hurts you. That's why it's got this terrible, I think this like almost terrible aura about it. So if I can achieve one thing on this as well, it's that maybe it can show that if us three reprobates can sit here on a Tuesday and just have a chat over a platform like this, and anyone can really do it. So how you do it is up to you. My advice: microphone. Get a decent microphone. If the person on the other side can't see you, it's one thing, but if they can hear what you have to say, man, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. No, Mark, I totally understand. I feel your pain. I mean, actually, to be completely honest, I'm sitting with a similar sort of technical glitch on my side. My home fiber is really not up to scratch. I really, really battle with my home Wi-Fi. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm streaming using my mobile phone as a hotspot with 4G data just to try and get a better internet connection and hoping like all hell that it actually does work. Seems to be better. Definitely a lot smoother and more reliable than the normal home Wi-Fi line. But it is a little bit awkward and it does just feel detached sometimes when the signal is not right. I think perhaps what people or companies or interviewers might consider going forward is maybe making an interview a 2 or a 3 stage process. Instead of just judging a person by one Zoom call where they might have had bad luck with bad internet connection, rather make it over 2 or 3 separate phases and give the person who's having the interview the benefit of the doubt. It's just one of those things. It's something that I suppose the world has to sort of agree to come to terms with.
Yeah, I know.
Bryan,
for sure.
I must just say that I'm totally on with 100% with Mark there. Face to face, there is nothing better. You can read someone, you can feel the energy. It's palpable. It's in the room. I mean, there's never going to be anything that's going to beat it. but it's
We're in
highly
this age.
unlikely. We're in this age, and this is technology as well, so it is going to happen. The nice thing about this is, you've got bad internet, you've got bad sound, bad camera, all of that type of stuff, but you can have a lot of bad stuff face to face as well. So there are pros and cons to both of them. I don't want to say some of the bad interviews I've had face to face. I wish I was a million miles away at some of those times. But we've just got to grab it. We just got to grab and run with it, whatever it is.
At least on the internet, you can hide those sweaty armpits and that kind of thing. But
I was going to say sweaty armpits.
It's also one of the reasons
because
we kept the podcast. Sorry, Ryan. Obviously, this is a big negative with it. You can't tell when someone else is going to talk. But the way we kept the podcast, we're adamant that we didn't want it over Zoom, because there's a, first of all, for us, you get to feed off a hell of a nice amount of energy in the morning when we shoot that Friday show out. And you also get like exactly what's happened now. When you were talking, Ryan, there's obviously a bit of latency. Then I start talking, and it causes that whole effect. But this whole element of going live, look, we can go live in the studio. We can shoot that out live as a live show. However, are we really going to achieve anything? We're not going to be able to look at comments like we're doing now. So this is the only real option. But like I say, what's quite cool with this is it's just informal. It's an aviation forum. I think of what Jason has done with Go Aviate. Trying to bring the people together, all the aviators, anyone involved in the industry, closer together. And the more platforms we got, the better. I mean, we've got such a strong community in this country. It's actually it's ridiculous. Alex McPhail released his new podcast today, the World Air Racing podcast, just come out, so go check that out. I mean, he's doing great things. Jason mentioned you already. Look, I'm quite proud of ourselves for pushing out 2 separate shows a week. This is it's pretty cool. And on top of that, there's still aircraft. People are still flying. Airlink is doing well. SAF is still there. We've spoken a lot about Lyft lately. They doing okay. So there's lots of positives to take out of this. This industry is going, I'm not going to say it's going nowhere, because it's changing, it's adapting, and it's going to evolve. But it's just so cool to be part of it at this level, because we're going to look back and say, remember when it was like this. And there are going to be people that are just going to block this whole period out. But I think if we can look back, and I'm not saying us as podcasters, I'm saying everyone. I mean, everyone that's commenting here, if we can look back in some way and say we were part of that turnaround in whatever way it was, by encouraging someone, by offering someone something, a bit of advice, whatever it might be, you're part of that turnaround, and no one can take that away from you.
Without a doubt, Bryan. Go.
Sorry, Brett, go ahead. Go for it.
So I was just, Bryan, what you've just said is like Chris has asked a question there about what you guys are going to do going forward. Is that going to be are you going to walk away from flying? What are you going to do? I mean, so it's an interesting question.
Chris, it's such a difficult thing to answer for us, because the only way that we could have done what we've done, and I'm not saying we've become this mighty empire. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're going to start something like a podcast, you have to give yourself to that podcast. You've got to dedicate your life to it. And we're incredibly fortunate. All of us work at the Sim Aero training facility. And we've got a wonderful environment set up there for us to work in. And it's more than a job. It's the training side has become a serious passion for me. You add the podcast on top. I'm very cautious to say I'm never going to go fly again, because that would be ludicrous to say that. But right now, my focus is on Sim Aero with the training. We're involved heavily with producing online training content. And of course, the podcast goes hand in hand with that. So my focus is there at the moment. I'm a big believer in Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend everyone reads it. About not having these fixed forms of insight. Tomorrow may change, but today, SimAero, the podcast, online training, and this collaboration and communicating and connecting with the aviation industry. That's where I'm at, guys.
Oh. Yeah, I think to add to that from my perspective as well, I'm in a similar sort of mindset. You know, we've come a long way in the last year to achieve as much as we have, and for me, it just feels like I'm enjoying this journey that we're on now and trying these sort of new things that we are. That I wouldn't just jump out of this straight away, just to get back in the flight deck right away, because it's just I was quite disappointed and let down by everything last year. Forced myself into a new sort of mindset, and I'm following this, and I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at personally. But just to go back to what you were saying as well, Bryan, earlier, with regards to seeing how things have changed, isn't it amazing to see how people have become creative and are just venturing out and doing new things? I'm loving about this whole pandemic phase, watching people, branch out and try different things, and it's really cool to see.
No, it is, Ryan. It's you like watching. It's like watching a movie. You kind of know the direction it's going, because the industry is going to recover. There's no question. If it's going to be the same, that we don't know. The jobs, I mean, are the jobs that Chris, you're talking about, that we are thinking of going back to? I'm not so sure those same jobs are going to exist. I think at the big legacy carriers, they probably will. Locally here in South Africa, or in Africa, I think there's going to be a few years before that turnaround happens. I don't see things going back straight away. And keeping an open mind, see what happens. And, we've spoken about this 1,000 times. I've surrounded the best thing I did. I surrounded myself with positive people, with positive outlooks. And if you want to change your life, you can't do better than that. Get around positive people that want to do good things and great things, and that aren't all doom and gloom. Man, that can change your life so quickly.
Yeah. You were talking about the industry earlier. I must say there does seem to be an element of a bit of a rebound in the charter industry, Bryan. Definitely a lot of activity starting to pick up there. It looks like United are going to start flying back into South Africa from the middle of June. So that'll at least bring some US travelers back to South Africa. So that should hopefully influence the charter and travel industry a little bit.
Okay, well that's good news. And Brett, I don't know if David here saying maybe consider the time. All right, so the reason we're doing it like this is basically, obviously, a podcast takes a massive amount of time out of our lives, and we are, we don't earn money from the podcast. We earn money from our jobs. So the podcast needs to be in hours that obviously aren't working hours. The weekend is obviously dedicated to a bit of prep for the podcast, and also it's dedicated to family time. So we're a little bit tied to this time, unfortunately. I do realize that a lot of the people we're trying to actually hit on the show are, from regions afar. But what I am quite passionate about, what I am trying to do, is not have this show just be about the live show. So I want to actually have a show where if you can tune in 8 hours later, whatever it may be the next day, you can still get something out of it. So yeah, a bit of news, banter based. And I know a lot of the comments that come through will be applicable to those people that are asleep right now. So I'm hoping it'll work. We're going to try and be consistent with this time. Obviously, it's totally different from our other show. The Friday show normally comes out Friday morning. This one, a bit different, Tuesday evenings for now. But David, yeah, it could change.
I think also,
Yeah.
Brian, isn't it a case that this is recorded? So this will be on the YouTube channel. We can obviously cut it up, run the whole thing as it is, and anybody can actually have a look at it. But it's a valid comment, because there is a massive market out there which we unfortunately can't touch all the markets at the same time. But it's extremely valid in that, and let's see where it goes. Who knows? Maybe we end up doing this a little bit earlier. Might make a difference. I'm not sure.
Perhaps what he was meaning as well is that obviously with the timing now, the guys in Asia can't engage with us sort of in live
of course
time, but there's nothing stopping them from still sending comments after the show. It'll still be released on YouTube, so still send the comments. We still read them and notice them, and we will respond to them. If not in the podcast, then definitely in the next live show. So we can maintain that level of engagement.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan. So anyone that sees it later, those comments aren't going to go to waste. So please shoot us a comment there anyway. And we could even talk about it if it's a comment relative or that we can relate to on our Friday show, then we'll do that as well. The expat community across the world, guys, has been insane for us. In fact, I'm not going to say the local industry hasn't been good. The local industry's been great, but the expat community, I get the most awesome emails from people all over the world, and it's been such a pleasurable thing for me, and I sometimes I feel guilty that Brett and Ryan miss out on it. Obviously people contact me because all my details are there, but it's given me such an awesome sense of connection with people that I didn't even knew who the hell I was. So we're very lucky from that sense, and to be honest, I've become so addicted to that. I've become passionate about connections. I just see things. 2021, it's about collaborating, it's about connecting, and it's about reconnecting, and that's what this is.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that, Brian, because we've heard all about these comments. The ones are, "Oh, Brian, you're so good. Oh, Brian, you're such a good host." Yeah. We never hear anything about us. You just keep everything quiet.
Yeah, there's a few bad comments.
Yeah. You don't tell us about those ones either.
So what are you really hiding from us? Yeah.
There's a couple of dodgy comments there from one guy in particular wearing orange. But there's always no, not again.
I think
I'll rip it like a new one again.
All right, let me have a sip of whiskey for this one.
Yeah, I know. No, not getting involved in that. You see, what us guys as well, and I don't want to just keep people here for the sake of keeping people here. We've been going for quite a while. It's 38 minutes already. When you get to this stage of our recorded show, because it's a bit more of a polished product, I'd like to think you end up getting through the stuff a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. This, obviously, you're stopping every now and again, reading a comment, and then, back and forth. But it is going to change, guys. Bear with us. We need to relax a bit. We need to get into it. We need to know what the people want. And I think through the week, we'll get lots of comments to say, "Hey, guys, why don't you do this or do that?" But anything you do for the first time. Ryan, you shot out earlier on a little picture from our first episode that we put on YouTube.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
It was so bad, man.
It was hilarious. I was actually just going through the channel just to, looking at information, because I wanted to get an idea of how many, our 50th episode is coming up this week, and I wanted to get an idea of how many episodes you had done prior to Brett and me joining you on the show. And I think it was about 7 or 8 episodes that you'd done, and we've been involved in the last 43. And when I looked at that first video that we shot out last year of our first podcast, man, I was just, I couldn't believe that was actually almost a year ago. It was horrendous.
So
man, we did
effectively this Friday is not our 50th, because it only accounts with the three of us. So tough luck.
Yeah, but that's a podcast 50th, and that's what counts.
Yeah, exactly.
But I won't lie to you. I mean, you guys, how many pilots stick up a picture of themselves when they've got their 1,000th hour? In the flight deck, 1,000 hours. and I'm sitting on, I think, 900 and something subscribers, and I want that 1,000 subscribers, because it's the same sort of feeling. The work and the dedication that's gone into it's kind of the same sort of feeling, and I can't wait to write 1,000 on a piece of paper and hold it up there for take a photo and shoot it out there.
Yeah, that'll be
We're
really
not
cool. I
far
think,
from
if
it,
anyone's if anyone's like listening and wants to give us a boost, 1,000th subscriber by our 50th episode would be awesome. It'd be a tremendous milestone.
Yeah, it's playing a little video here to remind people, but yeah, it is a big milestone, and it's coming up. So yeah, we're going to be, a few people have offered us a few things to give away. I'm not going to go too deep into it now. For our 50th, guys, Craig Wood is from Aviation 4SA, being kind enough to offer us a couple of subscriptions to his app. So I haven't decided how we're going to give that out yet, but I can assure you that unless you subscribed, you definitely ain't getting a subscription. But yeah, it's an exciting one. For me personally, starting the show and sitting here tonight doing this live, it makes me think that we have taken the next step, and I've enjoyed it tonight, guys. I know you guys have as well. And Gav, what are you referring to over here? I can see Gav; he's getting punchy over there.
Yeah, I think knowing Gav the way I do, I think he's enjoying as many whiskeys watching the show as we are. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, guys, thank you so much.
And also, before everybody goes, it's also about entertainment. And if you guys want anything or see anything that you'd like us to talk about or do or whatever, I mean, that's also great, because you guys are taking time out on Tuesday evening, dinner time, all of that, and it's really great to have you guys here. And if there's anything we can do to make it even more entertaining for you, yeah, please let us know. It'll be great.
Just to hit a comment here from Marsha. Yeah, one of my big things with this live show is it offers us the opportunity to bring people onto the show. You must understand, coming into a studio with a whole bunch of cameras and is not really everyone's cup of tea. This live show, although it's live, you're in your own space, and there's less pressure in a way. So there's a lot of people that I have actually tried to get on that have sort of sidestepped the idea a bit, just because they're not comfortable with the setup. We also, the way we shoot out the Friday show is very specific. We're using some decent equipment, so that you have to have certain microphone technique and things like that. Whereas with this show, you can be a little bit more, I'm not going to say amateurish is not the right word, but it offers us the opportunity to actually bring someone on. And what I like about this, Marsha, is next week, if you're on, I can actually shoot you the link during the show, and you can join us halfway through the show. So you don't have to come and talk to us for 45 minutes. Maybe you've got something to say and you just want to have your say on the platform. So this is for aviators. It's for people in the travel industry. It's for people in our network. So anyone that wants to collaborate with us, as long as it's positive, as long as there are good vibes, no negative vibes, we're staying away from the political side of things on this show. Man, we want you on. We want you part of our team, part of our network. It's about networking.
But we're very happy to have a go at the politics. We stay away from politics, but we love ripping into it.
What I mean is, the Friday show. The Friday show offers the opportunity to go a bit deeper and serious into, when we get political, it's because the politics have affected lives so badly, and then it becomes a serious matter. So yeah, I'm happy to, the stupid things politicians say, believe me, we're going to call it out on this show. But I'm not going to go as deep into it as we do on the Friday show, because they're serious and they're affecting the industry in a negative way. So that's why for me, that space on a Friday is better. And you will not, Brett, you will not believe the info and the gen that I get fed on a daily basis about what's actually happening, like now at SAA or with SACS in particular. You cannot believe the stuff that is going on behind the scenes that people have nothing to know about. People they're involved in this, they're in this thing with us. And the gen that I get, and I've actually got to piece it down and say, well, what can I talk about? What can't I talk about? But I think we're pretty good at just saying whatever the hell we think. And I don't really give a stuff if I offend someone that has affected aviation in a negative way. That's my only barrier. Has these people or this company or that person been detrimental to aviation? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to rip you a new one every fucking week.
I think that's what we love about the show as well. I mean, it's a small opportunity to vent a little bit at our frustrations and at least say what we got to say and get this off our chest. So, yeah, no holds barred to a large degree when we can.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thank you for your time tonight. And we'll be back next week this time. If there are changes to be made, it'll only be made after. So next week, Tuesday, 7, please let everyone know. We'll advertise it a bit better. Obviously, this week we were a bit cautious about, we wanted to see if it actually works. Now we know it works. And but from next week, it'll be out a bit more. And we'll advertise it a bit more. And but we need the reach. So if you could let people know about it, that'll help us a lot. As always, have a lovely evening. And don't forget, Friday, there's another podcast out, a bit more formal, but same, but different. Cheers for now, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Guys.
Thanks for joining us. That was great. Brilliant.
Bye. Catch you later.